Good morning, everybody. This is Bryant, the over 60 guy. It's a Sunday morning and I'm on my walk, and today I was looking at some of the videos that got so much attention recently, and one of them was kind of a fluke. This idea of the something that showed up on my Facebook feed, you know, the little season, the short season, Satan season is what I'm finding. There's different names by it. And so today I want to dig in a little further to the little season, this part of the Bible that's described in Revelation 20, and possibly like the timeline. So what I'm learning is there's this timeline adjustment, this revisionary of history, especially as it's referred to. I know when I was a kid we learned about the Dark Ages, but yet in this Dark Ages all this beautiful art and music and architecture happened. Why would they call it the Dark Ages? Why wouldn't they call it the Light Ages? But this idea is in this timeline, one of, there's so many parts of this little season that can be dug into, but just focusing on history and the timeline, the idea is that, Christ, when he was here, he was speaking to the nation of Israel, and look, I'm your Messiah, and if you reject me, then, certain things are going to happen. And that's certainly what happened. They rejected the Messiah, and the prophets predicted that the temple would be destroyed, and the Antichrist would be there, and even Jesus said this generation would not pass. So he was one of urgency on his point. And so what I learned is that that happened 2,000 years ago, and Christ hasn't returned yet, and I'm waiting, we're waiting for the rapture. That's a futurist look at this part of Revelation. But some believe that it's already happened, that Christ has already come and he's reigned 1,000 years. And so once that happened, he went back, and Satan was loosed for a short season. And that's where we're at now. We're in this short season. And so after after he was crucified, buried, and resurrected, and he visited his believers, and the Holy Spirit came and the church was born, when he left, it wasn't but maybe 35 years later that Rome came and destroyed, the temple. Came and destroyed the temple, and I believe that's really no dispute that happened. But it was also shortly thereafter that, after further persecution of the faith of the believers, that Rome was then destroyed, that Christ came back. There's three, Josephus and two others, who wrote of this war that happened in the skies. And so Rome was destroyed, by Christ, and he came down and set up his Millennial Kingdom. It speaks of it 6 times, I believe, in chapter 20, this founding of the Millennial Kingdom. And so now with Satan bound under, Satan no longer has sway to deceive. This whole period of time, this 1,000 years, all this amazing stuff happens under the leadership of Christ. The truth of him, the truth of his kingdom, the truth of his salvation, spread through the world, through the earth, and all this beautiful things happen, this beautiful technology, this beautiful architecture and art and sculpture, all these things, all these beautiful things occurred. You look around the world and you see all these amazing stuff. And like even in my town where I live, there's a lot of old buildings, And one of them, my wife and I like to go to this chocolate place, and we'll sit out and look at this building being renovated. And we've been doing this for over 3 years now. When I looked up the history of that building, they claim it was built somewhere in the early 1800s, but yet it has 2-story basement in it. It makes no sense. And it's this beautiful structure. And they say, oh yeah, we built the basement, built the building, and only took 2 years. Meanwhile, the renovation's been going on for over 3 years, and they're not, it doesn't appear like they're close. Maybe they got another year left. So a 4-year renovation to a building, but yet they built it in 2 years. And they did it with horse and buggy. And they did it with no power tools, no heavy equipment, no nothing. And when they were early excavating the bottom portion, I would see that there was these big doors and big windows, 2 stories down, 1 story down, going out into the earth, like into the earth. Like, what happened? And why? And that's not the only building. I mean, there's a lot of buildings where you'll see where there was windows at the base, at the foundation that were windows, but they're covered up, they're bricked in. But it goes down deeper. And where I'm at, you don't build basements. Like, I'm a home builder. You don't build basements where I'm at, So anyway, it's just very interesting. And the idea is that all this technology, all this beautiful buildings and art and all that, after the end of the 1,000 years, when Satan was loose to deceive the nations, all these wars broke out and all this, oh, we got to tear this building down, we got to destroy this one to put up something modern, and all that started occurring. So this whole, just one little thread of this story focuses on this history revisionism, this adding of time. And some people say, if you look at the coinage, the 1 is a J for Jesus and not a 1, that we're really, maybe only a little more than 1,000 years after Christ. So maybe a lot of this happened around the 1700s. And then, there was this whole idea of deception that occurred. And you think a lot about how they'll take film, how they'll take stories, they'll write it as fiction, but then over time that fiction starts bleeding into truth. Like they'll paint a picture of something and then they'll create some facts around it, or little facts, and they'll say this must be what it looked like, or this must be what happened. Next thing you know, all that fiction's bled into, quote, truth. So I don't know, there's a lot to it. I know I've gotten a lot of comments. I've gotten comments on both sides. People who really say, no, this is fake, and that Christ hasn't been here yet. We're still waiting. And hey, God love him. And that was my camp. And then the other ones that are pointing out more people who have resources and who've been looking into this certainly a lot longer than me. And but it's very interesting. So Satan's little season, the short season, what to make of it. I will make of this. If you like my content, I'd love for you to exercise your finger and hit subscribe. That would be nice. Or write me a comment. I've been getting a lot of cool comments. I try to get back to every comment, and hit a like or share it with somebody. What do you think about this short season? What do you think about it? Is it all hogwash, or is there something into it? Is there some truth to it? And on another note, are you guys working out? Are you exercising? Are you staying healthy? I hope so, because now's the time we need to be strong. We need to be strong and fit and focused. God love you, and I hope you have a blessed day.